Alright, y'all know what it is. New characters, so you know what that means. It's time to take a look at where they've landed on the tier list. And boy, oh boy, did they shake up the tier list with their introduction. But we start off here at the top like we always do. We're here again at pridewind.gg taking a look at the most trusted tier list in the Zenless Zone Zero community, at least on the EN side of things, right? We're here taking a look at the Shiyu Defense tier list for patch 1.6 part 2, and we are here because of Trigger. And boy, oh boy, do they have the, maybe the nicest butt in the entire game? I mean, it's definitely got some of the craziest physics, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Sure, we have the booty power creep, you know, giving Evelyn a run for their money, Zhuyuan a run for their money, Jane Doe a run for their money, but we're here to talk about the meta, okay? Because Trigger has caused a heck of a lot of characters to change up their positions on this list in the stun category, and you may have even noticed the watch list tag has been added to Soldier Anby. Now the watch list tag can mean a number of different things. It literally just means they're keeping an eye on this character's performance to see if they make an adjustment to the character. And as you might suspect, it's not because they're thinking of dropping her down. It's because they're thinking that with the addition of Trigger, Soldier Anby's best supportive character, that she might be worthy of a tier 0. Now don't get confused, don't get it twisted. Just because we see Soldier Anby potentially move up does not mean they're going to be better than Miyabi. Miyabi is still here, solidified as the best DPS character in the game. And you have Evelyn, if you notice they have the expert tag here. The expert tag means that if you play them at a higher level, a more optimized level than let's say just a more casual level, you can expect her to play like a tier 0 character under those conditions. Again, not better than Miyabi, just a tier 0, rounding out the bottom of tier 0. But with the introduction of Trigger and the different things that she can do, she's bringing more aftershock ability to the game, being an aftershock buffer for Soldier Anby here. She brings in charge, she has debuffing, she's a hybrid style supportive role character, and she dishes out good solid damage of her own. And we will be getting into the weapon situation with Trigger in just a second here, because once again Jesus man, the weapon situation in Zenless Zone Zero is just always a thing these days. It started off as just a couple of characters where it was kind of a little bit of an issue, but now it's a regular thing in the game, and we'll get into that in just a moment. We'll talk about some other things with her as well. I just wanted to point out that obviously, if she's basically up here pushing, a character like Jingyi out of a top tier slot, when Jingyi is clearly better than other characters below her, this kind of starts to just create a trickle effect, like a domino effect of a bunch of characters getting pushed down as a result. Every single character on this list moved down except for Pulchra, who again is a very strong unit. She has aftershock capability as well, but she's a 4-star character, and so, that doesn't necessarily mean she's bad, but she's not going to be as good as Trigger, but she still plays a good role supporting one of the best DPS characters in the game, and of course she can be used on other teams as well. It's just the most optimal way to use her is with Soldier Anby, of course. That's where her synergy sits the best. So when you see a queen coming in here in the form of Trigger, coming in here, taking one of these top slots, pushing Jingyi down, it pushes down a character like Lycan, who used to be the tier 0.5 character, and he moves down a little bit. You see Koleda move down as a result, because the thing is, Jingyi is a tier better than Lycan. Lycan is a tier better than Koleda, right? And so on and so forth with the old Anby. And again, you can use the old Anby with the new Anby, but why would you when you have another character in the game known as Pulchra? Now, it could be because you just have a lot of sequences for your old Anby and you don't have a lot of sequences for your Pulchra. That's a pretty good reason too. Everybody gets a free Pulchra though if you've played in the most recent game modes, but you also get probably more copies of her because you're pulling for Anby and she's the 4-star on banner, so more than likely you have a decent pulchra if you happen to be playing with Soldier Anby. And I do think it's worth some extra testing, but my presumption at this moment in time is going to be that with the addition of Trigger, making Soldier Anby so solid that you're probably going to see her move up to tier 0 with Trigger in the game now, and potentially even be considered better than Evelyn, because you basically are going to bump her up without the expert tag in that situation, and you're going to end up seeing her, even at a baseline, perform better than an Evelyn will in certain circumstances. Obviously, there will be certain domains, certain modes where Evelyn will potentially still perform better, but I think we might see now Soldier Anby as the second best DPS in the game and solidifying herself as so now that she has Trigger in the game, which is huge because, you know, nobody's dethroning Miyabi anytime soon, but it is cool to see some more fun, powerful characters come into the game. So we'll be also going into the teams, of course, that Pridewin has thrown up here, but we want to first take a look at the weapon like I promised earlier. And be aware that these orange numbers here are going to be whether you are putting days on enemies or not, or whether you're going to be looking to deal more damage. So again, the orange is for a days, and the damage is going to be in red. And you'll notice a massive fall off if you are not going for a days build. So I would highly recommend trying to build for a days team and basically focus around that, right? You don't have to, but as you can see, the numbers don't really lie here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is Spectral Gaze. This is her signature weapon. When the equipper hits an enemy with Aftershock, causing electric damage, the target's defense is reduced by 25 up to 40% respectively for 5 seconds. Passive effects of the same name do not stack. When this effect is triggered, if the equipper is not the active character, they gain 1 stack of Spirit Lock, up to a maximum of 3 stacks. This can trigger only once per use of a skill. Each stack of Spirit Lock increases the equipper's impact by 4 up to 6.4% respectively, lasting for 12 seconds. The duration of each stack is calculated separately. At full stacks of Spirit Lock, the equipper's impact increases by an additional up to 12.8%. It also provides you 24% crit rate, and its base attack is 713. This is a solid weapon. Having crit rate on a weapon is also very nice, helps you, build the character more easily, etc., etc. Pretty common to see crit, though, on a weapon unless they scale with some other kind of effect. Now, obviously, when you take a look at the stun-based team, you do not see a massive damage fall-off once you start looking at other weapons. So even going down here, the other signature weapons going down, if we keep going down to a 4-star option, an A rank option, whatever you want to call it, it is not a top tier piece in terms of its rarity. 93.71% is still pretty solid. However, Precious Fossilized Core is a battle pass weapon. So you keep moving down and you still see a respectable 93.32% with a readily available A rank weapon that is available to all players, and you can even just go craft this and keep building this up very easily, even on day 1 if you have enough material to do so. Steam Oven coming through as a very solid free-to-play option. Again, if you are dishing out days. If you are not, you will see a pretty big fall off if you are just simply comparing the damage itself. If you're just comparing the damage itself, going from 100% all the way down to 70%, that's dang near a that is basically a 30% fall off. That's not exactly super great. And surprisingly, a B rank weapon has made it onto this list. Again, though, if you're only focused on the damage itself, wow, what a fall off, right? And you don't see a lot of other options here. Pretty much, if you're looking at a free-to-play option or light spender option, whatever the heck you might want to call it, Steam Oven is basically your choice. This is your go-to. This is what you use on Trigger, right? But if not, then you're looking at pretty much going after her signature, because when the heck are we going to get any of these other weapons back? And honestly, if you have any of these other weapons, you're probably already using them on your other S rank unit, right? More than likely. Of course, down the line, once you have more units that you've pulled and less new units, and maybe power creep exists and you're not using certain old ones anymore, these might become more available to you if you happen to have them. If you don't, you're pretty much looking at pulling her signature or using this more free-to-play option. That it is a free-to-play option with Steam Oven. So happy to see that. Happy to see that if you are, dishing out days, this is actually a really solid option. But if you're focused on mostly just damage, this is not going to necessarily be super fun, but it is your option. This is the way to go. Steam Oven, baby. Steam Oven, unless you're going for her signature. That's the way I'd be looking at it in most cases. As you can see, you can come here to yourself and take a look at all the other options as well if you happen to have any of these. Now let's take a look at the teams, and you did not need anyone to tell you this, right? You already knew Soldier Ambi was going to be the best character to pair with her, as well as Astra Yao. That's just like a given. Everybody knew this coming into this, but Caesar King, Nicole, and Lucy are also options on your supportive role for this particular team. Of course, Lucy, Nicole, super duper. It's great that we have them in the game because they end up on so many different teams as options. It's crazy. And of course, Caesar King, like until Astra Yao came out, like just the support character, right? Now, if you aren't using her on a Soldier Ambi team, you can use her on a Yanagi team, of course. Again, you're just gonna see Astra Yao here again, Nicole, and then Bernice on this particular team instead of somebody like Lucy or Caesar. As a more supportive style character, you're going to see this work well with Yanagi, is just how it goes, right? Now let's go ahead and talk about this Miyabi team, brother. What a wild team. The Miyabi-Yanagi combo, of course, we all knew that was a thing. And then Trigger coming out here, brother. This is playing as your stun-based character, fitting more of a supportive role. I bet this team is... Dude, I bet this team is so fun to play. Holy crap. I don't have Yanagi on my account, sadly, because I was taking a little bit of a break from like everything at the time, and I was on a hiatus, didn't get Yanagi, and boy, that's a regret. I'll tell you right now, that's a regret. Now you got an Evelyn team here with Trigger behind Evelyn, and this is known as the Cake team, okay? This is the booty team, okay? This is the highest concentration of jiggle physics in the entire game. You have Evelyn, you have Trigger, practically the two arguing over the best slot of who's got the best booty in the game, and then you got Astra Yao coming up, bringing up the rear, pun intended, who doesn't get enough credit for having a nice booty. Like, I don't understand. I also wanted to point out that a new tag was added for the heal tag. Character can restore HP to themselves and or the team, contributing to sustaining your party, particularly over long and more difficult fights. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of characters that have this, but Astra Yao exists and she does have this capability. Now, the tags were updated for debuff, expert, and quick swap. Characters can inflict debuffs to enemies, causing a variety of effects that can benefit your party. Debuffs that only benefit the applier of the debuff and not the full squad are not considered. So they just revised this so that it better reflected where they're coming from whenever they use this tag. I think this is important because sometimes the tags can be confusing for some players if they're not worded a specific way. Also, the expert tag here, characters can be considered one placement higher than their default tier list ranking, but as an optimal playstyle that needs to be mastered to qualify that higher rating. So not everybody's going to be able to do this, just keep that in mind. This tag is only applied to characters where the harder playstyle creates a significant discrepancy in performance compared to the baseline style. Example would be Evelyn, and we have the quick swap tag here being updated. Characters kit benefits from swapping in and out of the field during their or other characters' rotation to maximize their potential and or potentially mitigate long animations, animation canceling, things like that. Characters with this tag may feel clunkier and or perform worse without having done so. And I can 100% agree with that. Nothing feels worse than, having a character that has these long animations that are super duper annoying or whatever, and you basically don't get to, you don't get to really play the game during those animations, so you want to swap out. So those are the updates for right now. That's the whole list for Trigger. That's all the Trigger information we got for you right now. If you want to come here for yourself and read onto more of the site, you totally can. The link will be in the description. And don't get surprised if you see Ambi move up by the next time this tier list updates. I think it probably will happen. I can't guarantee it. I don't make this list myself. I do know someone that is involved with it, but you know, I don't have an inside info right now on whether she will be moving up. We know publicly that they're really thinking about it. So anyways, if you guys like this kind of stuff, consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.